Guild Wars 2 graphics settings for new players. Once you got to the login screen, you can bring up the graphics options from the top left. Go to Options, and then this one that looks like mountains is the graphics options. Let's go through them one by one. Now, if like me you like switching in and out of the game, you'll probably want to run the game windowed full screen. This means that you can Alt-Tab straight out of the game without any pause or glitch. That means you won't be able to adjust the refresh rate of the game of your monitor. Just leave it on default. Now the interface size, this is the size of all of your icons, your bags, and your trading window, and absolutely everything in the game. I quite like it a bit larger than normal because I've got quite a high resolution on my monitor. So look at the other settings. Anti-aliasing. This setting here is quite graphically intensive, but I've got quite a good graphics card. What it does is it smooths out the edges of all the lines that are going diagonally on the screen. So any polygons that go diagonally, any triangles that go diagonally, that have little steppy jaggies on them, that'll smooth those all out. Now textures, I'm setting them to high, but in the game it does seem that the textures between high and medium there doesn't seem to be much change, so I don't think the high resolution textures may not be in game already in the beta. The same for terrain, I'm setting that to high. Shadows. Now if you find your computer struggling a bit, it's a good idea to set your shadows to none, because this seems to have the most effect on the frame rates. At the moment the game seems to be very CPU bound, so but even so, if you set the shadows to none, if you're finding you're struggling, and perhaps turn off anti-aliasing, you should be able to get your frames back, but I'm going to set them up to high. Shaders. This is shaders control all of the effects, like the spell effects and distortion effects, is like from heat from flames. They're also quite intensive on the shaders of the graphics card. Now reflections. This really only changes how the water looks. If you set reflections to none, then you end up with water that that looks quite matte, looks quite lifeless. Terrain and sky will mean it shows the trees and rocks next to the terrain, and all, which is the most intensive and really a setting you should only try if you're getting good frames, all shows up players and NPCs reflected in the water. Now depth of field, this is one that I'm not keen on myself. I always set it to none. What this changes is it blurs objects in the distance depending on how far they are away from you, to give you a sort of feeling that you're looking into the distance. But it doesn't feel natural to me. I prefer it to be off so I can see everything clearly on the screen, no matter how far away they are. Also, turning it off reduces the load. Wait for vertical sync here. I would always have this on. This locks the frame rates of the game, the maximum frame rates of the game, to be the refresh rate of your monitor, which prevents tearing. Also prevents your graphics card from getting too hot if it's running very fast. But tearing is where, when you rotate very fast on the screen, a vertical line can seem like it's misaligned, because one frame will start rendering at the top of the screen, and then the next frame will start rendering halfway down the screen. Whereas if you turn on wait for vertical sync, it waits for a screen refresh, renders the entire screen, and then waits for another screen refresh. So in my case 60 times a second as a maximum. And then high resolution character textures. Also, I'm not sure if these are actually on, but I've turned them on. I'm not sure if they're actually on in the game yet. And you can't have stereoscopic rendering yet, but that would be 3D, probably requiring 3D glasses. So there you go, a quick overview of all the graphics settings. So if you want to speed up your game, turn off anti-aliasing, turn your textures maybe just to medium, didn't seem to make much effect, but most importantly, shadows none, shaders low, and reflections none. That'll give you the most change. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have fun in the beta.